I think Mojang has an identity crisis for what they think about Minecraft gameplay. The trial chambers have been mentioned as intended to be a mid-game structure, which is a statement that ultimately goes against what Minecraft is. Classifying things linearly goes against the open world sandbox nature of the game that is built into most of the base of the game. This, despite parts of how the game is designed, could easily correct this issue. I'm going to go over those exact features to give an example of how close we got to a perfect trial chamber and an amazing gameplay feature for vanilla gameplay that just barely missed the mark, and how there's yet a chance for Mojang to fix it. The trial chamber fixed a lot of issues Minecraft currently has. The spawner inside can't be moved, so if you're looking to exploit it, you need to travel to where you have located one. This allows for the player to better experience the environment, go looking for the best spawner setup to build a proper farm in the area, explore the world, and then set up roads to connect these environments together. They also have made it so that if you want to harvest the resources, there's no risk to lose the spawners, as they are completely blast resistant, and thus you can recreate your own collection areas around them. If they're in the way for whatever reason, you can take the time to break them, but it has to be intentional. Lastly, the difficulty in loot scales if you are bringing in some friends to challenge the spawners and rooms. Sadly though, that last part is also kind of part of the problem. All of these are great, minus the fact that the scaling on the difficulty in the loot has been extremely limited to make it almost pointless, and ultimately the attempts to solve most problems still leaves the whole structure in a similar situation to what almost every other structure in Minecraft faces, in that you do it once and there's no point to visit it again. Those few issues with the trial spawners appear to be because Mojang attempted to fix them. But instead of focusing on how the trial chambers could be valuable regardless of when they are visited, they focused on what point they want the player to experience the trial chambers. And Minecraft doesn't work that way. It's a non-linear game. So if a player doesn't find a trial chamber until after they've already found enchanted diamond gear, they currently don't really get to experience that gameplay, nor have a reason to do so. The issues specifically boil down to two things that, if corrected, would make them infinitely better. First, the trial spawners don't utilize nearly enough information to calculate what difficulty the player should experience. And secondly, the reward tables are limited to only provide one random table of loot that multiplies based on the number of players. There are two ways I can see Mojang figuring out these problems, as well as an added feature I'd love to see included so that the trial spawner becomes a little more single player friendly. First option is something that is honestly already in the game, and I honestly expect that if Mojang did consider changing things, they would probably go for this one because it's super easy for them to do. That is to set the difficulty along the lines of the regional difficulty features. Now, this feature is kind of hard to explain because there are a ton of different factors to it that aren't generally discussed. One of the most well-known examples is the fact that slimes spawn in swamps, but it's controlled by the moon phases. If Mojang used the regional difficulty to calculate how long you spent in an area to steadily increase the difficulty and rewards of the spawners, adding potion effects to the mobs randomly, respawning with armor, decreasing time between spawns, or increasing the number of mobs spawned, then not only would you see the difficulty of the trial chambers increase as the players progressed through them, but also the loot would increase as they progressed as well. The second way I would prefer, though, is something I stand so strongly by, I built it into the game myself, because I want these chambers to be fun, and I want them to be useful, so I fixed it. I spent way too many hours learning about how the game works and struggled to learn all new skills to fix a gameplay feature that I'm super excited about getting added to the game so that it's actually something I feel like I can enjoy. What I feel is the best option for the trial spawners is a way for them to detect the current capabilities of the player in the main way that players level up to take on these challenges. Allowing for the spawners to detect what level their gear is and how enchanted it is can allow for the spawner to increase the difficulty of the mobs, as well as the loot the players can receive from it. We can even take it a step further and allow for players to better tailor the loot they are looking for from the spawners and the challenges they want to face. If you need iron, your best bet is to run in there with iron gear to have the loot table loaded into the spawner. That way, you get the chance at some buckets, raw iron, apples, and some dripstone. Running out of redstone, find some chainmail, and you'll potentially get redstone, honey bottles, quartz, or the famous redstone material, hay bales. I put that in there for target blocks. I don't know, guys. 2 weeks of programming, 7 minutes on the actual loot tables. It's a work in progress. I even have ancient debris in there if you run in with netherite. That way, once you've put in the effort to get some netherite, there's a renewable resource that has a low chance of getting you some more if you take on that challenge. Here's a visual table of what I've attempted to do with the loot tables. The enchanting level adds multipliers to the number of items, but it's all still being figured out. Last thing I really hope I'll eventually be able to do, and should be something added as a feature of the trial spawners. It's something to help me feel better about Mojang laughing at me for having no friends. Giving spawners the ability to add in armor stands as additional players to increase the difficulty and the loot rewards as well would solve a ton of the issues of people playing single player or hanging out with their best friend who's 200 chunks away looking at frogs through spyglasses. Give me the option of over-anticipating what I'm capable of dealing with and having a swarm of 20 to 30 chicken-riding baby zombies in full diamond chasing me around with a sharpness 4 sword and a strength 2 buff. I want to make that mistake myself so that somebody can clip it and put some Benny Hill theme music over top to blow up TikTok. Ultimately, though, these chambers are fun, and intentionally limiting them to what Mojang considers mid-game is a travesty in Minecraft. They are the closest thing that's been added recently to what could be considered a truly open world experience in its ability to change based on certain requirements. These requirements, however, were intentionally hindered and limited to ensure it fit into a defined linear timeline of what Mojang expects the player to go through when playing the game. That mindset needs to stop if reworks on old structures and structures yet to be added are going to be interesting and valuable in the future. If you want access to the data pack, currently I've only got the loot tables working based on the gear and enchantment level, but I'm going to keep working on it. As far as I know, there's not really a good place that's trusted that I can put the data pack available for download. So I'm going to put it as a part of a free tier to download on my Patreon with a link below. If you'd like to support me so that I can dedicate more time to this and future projects I've got planned, feel free to become a member here or jump on one of the paid Patreon tiers while you're there. Sorry about the half-sized skeletons I'm going to add to the spawner small mob group though. Thanks for watching the whole video through to the end. If you've made it here, feel free to subscribe as that helps a ton as well. And be sure to leave a like on the video. If you want to see some stuff included or have better ideas for how I can update this mod pack, throw those in the comments below or jump in one of my live streams when I'm live next, as I potentially will be actually working on this live. I have no idea as to what I'm planning on doing yet. Either way, thanks for watching.